Welcome everyone. August speaking, and welcome back to some Civilization World Cup highlights. This time we're going to back to the finals. Actually, game two between the Phillyboys and Nekst Vigraem. Phillyboys chose the Pangea map to try to equalize the series here. It was a lot of action, a lot of very good plays. So let's jump straight into it. So the Pangea map was relatively standard. We're going to go quickly through the players here. We had, for instance, Auden playing Dido on the coast. We also had for the Russian team Kolento playing Korea here, and was played by Pelman. So the south of the map was in the control for the Russian team. The north was more in control for the Phillyboys, really. We had Japan on Alma here, for instance, on the small peninsula with the islands as well. Very good spawn. He'll do an amazing game this time. And Tordred was playing Mali as well. He will be in a land duel against Rome, so it will be a very tough game for him, unfortunately, this time. The naval warfare will actually be very interesting between Japan and Dido, so keep an eye out for that. We also had Red Phoenix on the center, north of the map for the Phillyboys. Find Destroyer was pretty much right in the center in a 2 versus 1 scenario behind his mountains against America for Arambe and Red Phoenix on Persia. And it was overall a relatively balanced map, even though some players think one side or the other had the advantage. It gave a very interesting match overall. Korea went for fertility rights to get a free builder, an amazing sim with C1 as well in the early game. There was some positioning war between Persia and France to try to control the chokes, which was pretty important. And the second city from Japan went straight on Chocolate Hills as well to give him a lot of boost in production, food, and science, which really helped out, really. Very early, also, we understood that the Russian team wanted to take control of Jerusalem right next to Mali, so Tordred had to prepare. He went for 2 Segupas as monuments to try to prepare some mass slingers and archers for a defense. We can see Destroyer also going for an encampment, trying to get his general here, but the race was on and every player was trying to get generals here. Overall, it's going to be generals for Persia, America, and Rome. So unfortunately for Destroyer, even though he will try to chop it and try to get the general up, he will fail to get one in this race here. The Sympher core was actually very insane and pretty awesome, so I'm showing you some images there was. And Destroyer decided, after losing his general, to go mass settlers. So even though he felt safe behind his mountains, so he thought he was able to try to get as many cities as he could overall. Akkad was taken by Japan as well with the help of Mali, so it really gave a huge boost for Japan on this game, 5 or 6 cities very early on. Though the action really started with the Harambe horses. It was still in 3 cities. We had some legions trying Jerusalem, but he revealed the horses relatively late in the turn, and unfortunately, Destroy could not react here, and the settler was in danger of being lost. And as a first move, he managed to save the settler but lose the archer, so it was a very tense moment. Now, Destroy was about to lose the settler unless he was doing something about it. On the other front, we see the mass archers here for Tordred against legions, and it actually worked well. And overall, the defense was pretty set. And Destroyer again, first move manages to save the settler once again, and the settler is saved. But unfortunately, it wasn't enough to save La Rochelle as well, as it was really lacking units. At the same time, to the right, there was some pressure by some immortals from Red Phoenix, and eventually, pressure was just too much. It will lose La Rochelle and will lose some position and some units. It was a very difficult game for Destroyer and for the Russian team here. He even lost a second settler, lost potentially a second city here to the south, and we forced to get walls up in most of the cities here. So it was a very difficult start for Destroyer here. And Harambe, it's amazing how much he did with 3 or 4 horses on that side. The storm was on the Russian team here. It was very difficult to try to come up from this. As you can see, on the other side, Rome was trying to gain some ground, and he actually managed to get a few units, try to go through the defense, but it was just too many units for here Mali, so unfortunately he couldn't go through. And Harambe changed target. Instead of continuing to harass France, he went this time on Rome. And unfortunately for Rome, he will actually lose a city to that as well. So the horses managed to get 2 cities from France and 1 city from Rome. At the same time, there were admirals' race. So we'll go straight to it, to the naval warfare in a few seconds, because it will be very important. And we also got a general taken by Korea for his watches. So finally, we had something going on for the Russian team here. Although Almog did an amazing naval game, he got almost all the generals here, admirals, and he got the pre-builds, he got the careful timing actually very quickly as well. And Dido on the other side was far from being ready to receive the caravels. So even though he was lacking units, he was lacking technologies, he was lacking the admirals as well. Destroyer managed to secure the front at the same time, but the Russian team had other worries at this point because Carthage fell to the Japanese Empire here, and unfortunately, it will never be taken back, so it was very difficult. Only Kolento was the hope for the Russian team here. Kolento, with his Wacha, actually managed to do an impressive timing push on Red Phoenix here on Persia, and will slowly but surely gain progress and kill units of Red Phoenix to make sure that he has a very strong game, and the Russian team still remains in this game here. We can see some images again of the naval warfare. It was Barems against caravels. It just was a no match at this point of the game. Even though he will eventually get some caravels up, the damage was already done. He had lost so many ships. It was impossible to try to come back from this. And we had the Destroyer trying to also double push Red Phoenix with the help of Korea. So it was very difficult for Red Phoenix to defend. But eventually, Auden will fall here, making this virtually a 3 versus 4 in favor of the Phillyboys, which is exactly what they needed to stay on this tournament. Still, on Tarsus, we can see Korea was still gaining ground, killing units, and will eventually get it. And he will also get Newton, so Newton will help him stay on par with Science and even on top, which will manage to keep the Russian team in the game for quite a while now. Because even though they lost a player, Korea was doing amazing, Rome was still very strong, and Destroyer actually recovered very well from the early rush of the horses from America. Red Phoenix managed to finally get his cuirassies out, and that was enough to stabilize the front and make sure that he wouldn't lose any more city, any more ground. And that was all the Phillyboys needed as a victory, as we got the field cannons now getting out from Mali. And was going to hurt on Rome because Rome was far from being ready for that. At the same time, we had a Japanese city trying to create a sort of second front of Rome as well to make sure that they pressure him as much as they could and try to eliminate the player as well from the game, making this a 2 versus 4. That was their attempt. Eventually, with the field cannons up, they managed to progress and even take out Jerusalem. So the first city fell for Rome here to Mali. It was a huge blow to the Russian team once again. With the city fallen from Dido here, we see Almog with a lot of cuirassiers that would eventually become tanks, pressuring as well Korea on the other front. So right now, the whole Russian team was on the defensive for the rest of the game. It was very difficult. We got some Rough Riders timing as well got out to try to bother Destroyer, and the tanks were getting up. Eventually, Kalato with his science lead managed to get some planes up and tried to stabilize the front, but he had lost the naval. The team had lost the naval control, and there was really no way to try to deal with those tanks in the long term. So it was very difficult. They had to try to win and defend at the same time, which was no easy task against 4 other players. We got some Garnepel also out for Destroyer to try to defend against the Rough Fighters, which did the job, even though multiplayer will be very low at one point. And overall, Kolento was still trying to carry this game on his back for the Russian team, but it was just too little, too late. Eventually, they decided to concede the game to the Phillyboys, making it an equality, a 1-for-1 in this BO3. If you liked it, don't forget to subscribe, like, and so on. Otherwise, we'll see you guys for the next highlight.